Hello, this is Richard C. Wilson at the Family Office Club, and today we have an investor mandate interview with Thomas out of West Palm Beach, Florida. Welcome, Thomas.
Thank you very much. It's nice to be on with you, Richard.
So, in addition to being an investor yourself, you're also, if I understand, the leader or the chapter head of the West Palm Beach or Palm Beach Keiretsu Angel Investment or Angel Investor Forum. Is that correct?
That's correct. Keiretsu has 54 chapters around the country, and we're setting up one now in Palm Beach.
Okay, great. And so we've had many people from Keiretsu come through our events. Some of our investors are also members of Keiretsu. You know, what you guys do is very different from the family office clubs. We're always happy to work together. And we've had some groups that present to your Keiretsu chapters also be sponsoring some of our events, et cetera. So very, very much familiar with your platform, but some are not. And as we were just chatting about a couple of minutes ago, out of all the different angel investor clubs that are out there, Keiretsu is known for being one of the largest, if not the largest by several measurements, but also strong on the due diligence checklist and kind of sharing of due diligence best practices. Is that right?
Yes, they rank highly along the angel groups, usually in the first or second place in terms of performance, in terms of returns that they've provided or that they have offered, because they don't invest directly. It's the investors and the members that invest. But they're always looking for, and we're looking here, of course, for potential new members to join this forum. And once they join here, they have access to any of the companies that may be through with the due diligence anywhere else in the country or overseas, for that matter. If they wanted an international investment, that could be an early stage A and B round, not seed.
Sure.
Investment opportunity in Israel, for example, they might find that that would be an opportunity that they could find through Keiretsu.
Sure, makes sense. And I hadn't planned on asking this, but there's many people who, may be a fit for Keiretsu, and there's many that may not be. What are the types of companies that make it through your screens that you say within your organizations you're looking for, and you say, wow, I wish we had more of that type of deal to show to our investors? What's the optimal thing that attracts capital the fastest through your investor platform?
Keiretsu is agnostic. However, I have a bias personally.
Sure.
As I was saying, Keiretsu is agnostic. My personal favorites are early stage bioscience companies that are in A and B round fundraising, and in many cases have very strong IP. And maybe already in preclinical work, depending on whether it's a drug or whether it's a device or whatever. But the leverage is so high with the success in those areas. The risk is higher as well, of course. But when you're looking at early stage situations, you absorb that risk, and that's why you diversify, as you should in any investment.
Sure, makes sense. And most angel investor clubs just aren't built to look at real estate deals, even though some of the angel investors in the clubs might very well do real estate investments outside of the angel clubs. But the purpose of the angel clubs is typically to look at operating businesses, not real estate. Is that the case with 90% or 100% of Keiretsu deals as well?
Yeah, Keiretsu does not normally take a position in, well, they do have a couple of funds, but they normally don't take a position in the companies that they have done the due diligence for and so on. That is part of the services that they offer to their members.
Okay.
Similar to yourself in a way, in that you don't necessarily offer particular deals. You facilitate the opportunity and the due diligence to allow good situations for your members.
Right. Yeah.
Members.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that one thing we found over time is that a lot of people in the space basically get tempted by U.S. dollars, of course, to help those who are raising capital. And the stance we've taken is to be helpful to those people raising capital with advice and books and strategies. But our success fee only comes from our investors in terms of a performance fee or like a profit share from the investor, and importantly, not from the investment products because we've realized there's almost an unlimited number of things that the investor can get pitched, but it's keeping that investor relationship, treated with great care and making sure that we're really focused on what they want, more so than who will pay us the most commission for selling something to the investor relationships. So that's kind of what we've learned over the last 13 years. And I know Keiretsu has a lot of best practices, like we talked about on the due diligence side, and just the way you guys run your chapters. Having so many chapters globally, not just in the U.S., it really makes you a strong player in collecting best practices there. What would you say is the number one thing that gets the most traction through Keiretsu? I know you gave several examples of A and B rounds, and different healthcare related, investments. But if there was one type of opportunity, like let's say it's operating businesses that are on a fast growth track, but they have 1 to 3 million revenue, or is it companies that are doing $250,000 of profits or EBITDA per year, but under $1 million in profits per year? Or is there an industry niche? Is there something that just really stands out that like, wow, if you have that type of company and you're listening to this right now, you should really reach out because it's going to be an excellent fit for you?
Well, there's always the real estate situations, which are usually showing, earlier cash flow, et cetera. As I said, I like the idea of the biosciences,
Sure.
including devices. And in that case, I think the real value that you're getting by being a member of Keiretsu, there's so many early opportunities, and they all sound good. So to spend the time that you, as a normal investor on his own, would spend looking at, 20 different deals or 25 different deals before he would decide he wants to get into one, he could spend a lot less time by being a member of Keiretsu, where that is being done for him, and he's being already offered opportunities that have already had that due diligence done. And I think that is reflected in their performance as well as in the professionalism of the type of people that are involved. With over 3,000 accredited investors that are members, paid members,
Sure.
You're getting a number of them that are experts in, small molecule drugs or in real estate or in IT or whatever.
Right.
That participate in the due diligence on a hands-on basis, whether they actually invest themselves in it or not.
Right. Yeah, that's so critical. That's something we're facing now in a healthcare related deal with a dental clinic chain. I can look at it and I can look at it all day long, but going to the 3 investors that we work with who have sold their dental practices and having them look at it and whether they invest in it or not, weigh in on that, I think is just a night and day difference. So I can definitely relate to what you're saying. And I think that is one of the most important points you made this whole interview, is about how all of the opportunities look good. I mean, some of them, sadly, might not once you've seen enough, just because that like, wow, if they're modeling that optimistic of a cash flow jump, that it just doesn't look realistic. It almost looks so good that it can't be true. But I know that the whole point of the pitch is to get the investors excited, and that's what scares investors many times, is that without the knowledge of having had an exit in the space, then how do you tell one good opportunity from the next? And a lot of families who have a liquidity event, who suddenly come into a lot of money, they start spreading their money around left and right into things that they just don't know, and they don't have those other investors to call on. So I think that's part of the value that obviously your organization is providing. The final question I had here, and then I'll give you a chance to add anything else that you'd like to for this interview, is what $100,000 piece of advice could you provide to investors listening to this? They could be a private investor in Australia, or we just interviewed a single family office in Prague, or they could be someone right in Palm Beach that might be an active angel investor already. But what would be a big lesson that you've learned over time, or an insight that you could share with an investor listening to this interview today?
Many family offices have a particular niche that they're interested in from a philanthropic standpoint, and their investments may reflect that. and it could be a cancer situation within the family or God knows what. And again, I come back to, I think the due diligence of that Keiretsu can offer to the companies and therefore to their members gives them an opportunity to save an enormous amount of time and money that they would spend on possibly getting into one of many different options in cancer today, for example. Many different breakthroughs, and they all sound exciting. To have some experts that have already looked at that could save you easily $100,000 in terms of lost money, much less $100,000 in expenses in terms of the due diligence that you might spend, you and maybe a few others, on trying to evaluate a company that might have a breakthrough, but might not.
Sure. Yeah, makes sense. Great. Well, I appreciate you being here, on the interview today. If anyone would like to get a hold of Thomas, you're a member of our group, just go ahead and email Jennifer, or submit a question through the member portal. We'll get you right in touch with Thomas. We have, maybe 15 to 25 different angel investor associations and clubs that speak at our events. But as I mentioned, we know Keiretsu better than almost all the rest, just because they're one of the largest. So we bump into professionals like yourself, Thomas, here in Miami, in San Francisco, and Seattle, have spoken at one of your events, and some of our investors are members as well. So appreciate you taking the time here to kind of explain a bit deeper than someone might get at a busy conference, what your firm is up to. And now if somebody is local to you in the Palm Beach area, then maybe they could check out your chapter and participate there locally with you as well.
And if they're in another area and would be interested, obviously I can refer them to a chapter that might be in their local area.
Sure. Great. Yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you for your time here. And hopefully you can come to one of our live investor summits once this whole virus thing passes us and we go back to normal living. Then hopefully we'll see you on stage at one of our events here soon.
I've been to several of your summits, and you guys do a terrific job.
Oh, thank you, Thomas. Appreciate you saying that. Take care.
Thank you.